Happy Make It Monday. I'm your host, Laura Buechler of Inkyfingers Papercrafting, and I'm excited to be here with you once again for an episode of Make It Monday. We are going to make another fabulous card together today, and don't forget to stick around till the end of the video because we will be giving away the card that we made last time, 2 weeks ago on Make It Monday. So I'm so excited to be here with you today. As you know, I always say creativity is fun, creativity is good for us, and creativity is for everyone. So I hope you're all taking some time to get creative in whatever way that matters to you. Of course, for me, card making is a big part of that. So I want to invite my lovely assistant, Stevie, who's going to come on stage here. And Stevie's just going to take away last time's card, and he'll come back at the end of the episode to tell us who's going to win that card. So this is the card that we are making today. Isn't it gorgeous? Subtle, understated, simple, classic. Those are some of the words that come to mind when I think about how I want to make sympathy cards. And the reason we're making a sympathy card today, fortunately, is not because anyone in my life has passed away, thank goodness, but because my dear friend Mark asked me about making sympathy cards or condolence cards. And I'm using the Loveliest Tree bundle to do so, but you could use lots of different things to make a sympathy card. I'm going to talk to you more about that later. But first, I want to give you one piece of advice about sympathy cards, which is this. If you want to give a handmade sympathy card, make it before you need it. Because the moment that you need a sympathy card, you will not feel like making cards. So without further ado, let's dive in and see how this lovely card was made. I've got my supplies right here. I've got very vanilla cardstock and Misty Moonlight cardstock, and I've got my Misty Moonlight ink. You'll notice this is a monochromatic card, but it doesn't have to be. For sympathy cards, they do not have to be monochromatic. That's just one of the styles that I like, is monochromatic cards, as you know. So I'm going to ink up this lovely tree from the Loveliest Tree stamp set. And because it's a large stamp, I'm actually going to bring the ink to the stamp instead of the other way around. I'm tapping a lot of times, but I'm also tapping gently. I never want to press into my ink pad with the stamp. A demonstrator I know reminds us to make it a gentle kiss. It's not a full-on makeout session. So isn't that stunning? The depth and dimension of that stamped image. I just love it. Okay. So that's one of the things that we need to stamp. I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine and bring that over here because we have some die cutting to do. So let me grab that. It sits over on a different table, my full-size one. Most of the time I like to just use my mini machine, which sits right on my desk. But today we have some embossing to do, and so we need a larger machine. So I'm using this fabulous birch bark 3D embossing folder. If you're looking at this going, oh my gosh, where is that? I haven't seen that. No, you haven't. You have not seen this product yet because it is in the upcoming September to December mini catalog. That's when you will see it starting in September. As a demonstrator, I was able to participate in an event recently called Creativity Now, and the demonstrators who registered for that event were given the option to purchase specific products from the upcoming catalog, and I did, because of course I did. So that's the embossing folder. Isn't that gorgeous? Look at how thick those ridges are. Love it. Okay, so that's my embossing done. Now I'm going to do a little bit of die cutting. Well, I see we've got some viewers out there. Shout out to my viewers. And if you're watching the replay, shout out to you as well. Glad that you're here with us. Drop me a comment and let me know where you're tuning in from and whether you have made sympathy cards before. All right, so I've got the matching die here for this lovely tree. Oh, here's another question. I am not at all knowledgeable about plants and trees and so on. So if anybody knows what kind of tree this is, I would love to hear. All I know is it's very elegant and regal. Okay. So we've got that gorgeous tree all cut out. Oh, that looks gorgeous. And now my final piece for that I need this machine is going to be taking my Misty Moonlight matte layer, and I'm going to cut using the deckled rectangles. I'm going to cut a rectangle out of the center of that matte layer. This is, by the way, this is one of the tricks that I use constantly in card making. You've probably seen me do this before, where if I've got a matte layer that I know is going to be covered, why not cut something out of the middle of it so that I now have, I'm making better use of my cardstock instead of leaving this as a solid layer and then cutting into another piece of Misty Moonlight cardstock. So, all right, beautiful Susie, we are done with you. You can go down to the side. We'll come back into the desk, get a better view. All right, so here's what we've got. We've got these two. We've got this. It's been embossed. We've got, oh, where did my tree go? Here it is. We've got the tree. And then we just need another little piece. Very vanilla, and I'm going to stamp my sentiment on that. But before I do, I'm going to go ahead and assemble what I've got so far. So you're starting to see, as I said, when I make sympathy cards, I tend to be striving for simple, striving for classic, understated, elegant. You certainly could make a sympathy card that is over the top and colorful and bold. But I think in general, I think this is the style of sympathy card that makes sense to me. I also wanted to say what I like to do, actually, when Mark asked me about sympathy cards and condolences cards, you could actually make a sympathy card that doesn't have a sympathy sentiment on it. So in the Loveliest Tree stamp set, we have this sentiment of sending heartfelt sympathy. We also have here on my desk, I've got another example, the Heartfelt Hexagon stamp set, which coordinates with the hexagon punch. It has a sentiment of with sincere sympathy. And of course, you could use that with or without the hexagon punch, right? But you could also stamp thinking of you, or I'm here for you, or anything that's kind of support oriented, or I don't know, even just a note, right? Just a note you could have as your sentiment. And then on the inside of the card, you would obviously write something that's specific to the sympathy situation, right? But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to have a sympathy stamp in order to accomplish a sympathy card. In fact, a lot of the cards that I make, I kind of make them with that in mind. I'll tend to go to a more generic stamped sentiment and then add the specific sentiment when I know who's going to be receiving the card. That's because I make a lot of cards and I don't always know where they're going to go and who they're going to go to when I make them. Some people have the opposite plan, and they sit down, you know, oh, I need a card for this, so I'm going to make a card for this. And that doesn't work for me for a couple of reasons. I don't always have the time to make a card for such and such an occasion when that occasion arises. I'd rather have a lot of cards on hand and then be able to choose something that's going to work for the upcoming occasion. So that's just the way I work. I would love to know in the comments which is more like your own style of making cards. Okay, so this is coming along very nicely. The last bit that I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Sending Heartfelt Sympathy stamp and my Misty Moonlight ink pad, and I'm going to just stamp this sentiment at the bottom corner here of my Very Vanilla cardstock. This is something that we can forget sometimes too, is that you don't always need a punched shape or a die cut shape or something something fancy. You can just cut it out yourself. Sending Heartfelt Sympathy. I'm just going to check a little bit closer, see if there's a couple edges that might need to be trimmed and evened out. And yes, I'm sure some people would get in here with a ruler and measure the whole margin. That's not my style. So I have just cut that out on a little rectangle. And now I'm going to add some dimensionals to that. So very, very simple, right? And I know I always say we got to add bling to every card. And I could add some bling to this, but I don't have to. It can be just like that, and that is just absolutely fine. Right? Sympathy card, simple, understated, classic. All right, so that is our finished card for today. Don't forget, if you want to have a chance to win this card, share the video and leave a comment to let me know that you've shared. And maybe Stevie will be calling your name next week. Now, before we give away last week's card, I'm subtly trying to do a little tidy up of my desk here, but I wanted to show you some other examples of sympathy or condolences cards. Here's a really simple one. All this is a card base and a piece of DSP and a sentiment popped on top. Simple, simple, right? Now, here's another one. Obviously, it says congrats at the moment, but picture this exact same card, same colors, same layout, same stamps, everything, but with a sympathy sentiment here instead, right? This card could just as easily be a sympathy card. Here's another example. We've got a little bit of designer series paper and then some stamped and die cut shapes with a sympathy stamp. Again, quite simple. And here are two that I've made recently with the Spotlight on Nature bundle. And again, they say thanks and dear friend, but they could just as easily say a sympathetic sentiment and they would fit perfectly with that style, right? So those are some examples of how to make some sympathy and condolences cards. I think the main things to keep in mind are to choose an appropriate sentiment, which, as I said, it may or may not include the word sympathy, and to just stay simple with your design. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. All right, let's get Stevie back over here, and Stevie's going to tell us who won last week's card with the Hearts and Hugs bundle, these adorable badgers. So cute, right, Stevie? Oh, yeah, they're so cute. So who is that card going to get mailed to? Maury! Yay! Awesome. So happy I will be getting to put this card in the mail to my friend Maury, who always watches the live, even if she's just catching the replay, that's great too. If you want to win, if you would like a chance to win this week's card, don't forget to give the video a share. And if you would like to purchase any of the supplies that you've seen me use today or in a previous video, you can find them at my website, inkyfingers.ca. And you'll also find all the products, all the catalogs. You'll find online exclusives. You'll find the kits. You'll find my events calendar, lots of tutorials, lots of fun stuff, and the sign up for my email newsletter to get all the specials and news and tutorials right in your inbox. So have a great week, everybody. Have a great day. Don't forget to take some time to get creative and spend some time enjoying whatever kind of creative endeavor you like to do. All right? Happy stamping. Bye-bye.